Unlike the previous lenses that we reviewed on the channel, this one right here, nobody sent this to me. I bought this with my own money. And that is because if you're looking for a wide-angle lens, I personally believe that this is the lens to go. It's the Sony 20mm F1.8 G lens. And in this video, I'm gonna share 5 reasons why. Whew. Ha? Wala pang intro? Bakit? Dapat after ng why, intro agad. Ayaw? Hindi, pindutin mo lang. Wala. Wait. Before anything else, I'd like to officially welcome you to my channel. Thank you for making it past the intro. If you're into cameras, gadgets, technologies, all that good stuff, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't yet. In that case, you won't miss out on anything from this channel. Having that out of the way, let's dive right into the topic. The Sony 20mm is very compact and very lightweight. If by any chance you've been following me for quite some time now, you'd know that portability is important to me. Not that I travel a lot, but I bring my camera with me pretty much everywhere that I go. Thus, I love that this lens has a form factor convenient for people who are always on the go. That being said, if you're wondering if this lens could be used for handheld vlogging, I'd say it is perfect. Not only that it's compact and lightweight, but it also looks like a G Master lens. Like at first glance, you'd think that it's a 24mm G Master. It has the focusing ring, the focus hold button, the aperture ring, the focus mode switch, and the aperture click switch. Very, very similar. Although how I wish they included a lock switch for the aperture ring, just like the Sigma lenses. But nevertheless, I cannot be happier with the build quality of this lens. Reason number 2, the Sony 20mm produces impressive image quality. Like from the colors to the sharpness, this lens is way up there. Like no wonder why a lot of reviewers said that it doesn't just look like a G Master, but it does perform like a G Master too. Well, I haven't really tried the 24mm, but as far as the image quality is concerned, I have absolutely no regrets choosing the 20mm. I love the colors and the details that I get every time I shoot with this lens. Even in the corners, believe me, sharpness is all over the place. Hence, I personally believe that this lens produces professional level image quality. Good job, Sony. Reason number 3, the Sony 20mm can open up to f1.8 aperture. Sure, it may be 2 stops lower than the G Master, but come on, f1.8 is still without a doubt a large aperture. Meaning even in low light situations, maybe for photography or videography, you can still rely on this lens. Like for real. In addition, the bokeh or that blurry background is something that I think this lens is proud of. I assume. Because imagine it gives me a decent background separation even at wide angle perspective. How cool is that? That being said, I personally love using this lens for my talking head videos. Of course, right now I'm not using it, but try watching my recent videos and you'd see that this lens is perfect for talking head videos. Well, at least to my liking. All thanks to that large aperture. Reason number 4, the Sony 20mm has a very good lens distortion control. Yes, you heard it right. I was surprised that even at this wide of an angle, barrel distortion is very well controlled. I super duper love that I don't always correct the images in post. The convenience, people, the convenience. So for both photography and videography, this lens is very, very useful. Now, with regard to the chromatic aberration, it might be too good to be true already, but this lens, believe it or not, controls the chromatic aberration as well very fine. As a matter of fact, I just can't remember who, but there was this video before about this lens where it was mentioned that this is the perfect lens. Well, I cannot totally agree to that. Maybe almost perfect lens, but definitely not perfect. Later we'll find out why. Lastly, reason number 5. The Sony 20mm has a surprisingly useful focal length. Surprising because the 24mm is kind of the more common option. Would you agree? Like for handheld vlogging, 24mm is like the go-to focal length for many people. I myself, I was looking at buying a 24mm lens before, but thankfully, I ended up with a 20mm instead. That extra 4mm in wide made this lens very flexible and very versatile. Personally, I find it useful for landscapes, establishing shots, and like I said earlier, even for my talking head videos. I love that since it's wide, I can be near the camera and just use an on-camera microphone for a quicker and simpler setup. Not only that, but this lens is what I use also for my unboxing videos. This focal length plus the large aperture is perfect to get the subject to pop out of the background. Really, really nice. Oh, let's not forget, due to its wide focal length, this lens has a minimum focusing distance of 0.18 meter. How amazing is that? Hence, I don't know about you, but I also use this lens for product shoots. I love that it gives me extra details of the subject, like for real. Now you might be thinking, how about for portrait shoots? Well, of course, you can still use this lens for such thing, but due to the wide perspective, it won't give you that natural feel or natural composition of things. But if you're fine with that, then go for it. One final thing before the conclusion. Earlier, I said that this lens is definitely not a perfect lens. Maybe almost, yes, but really not perfect. And surprisingly, that is because of the autofocusing system of this lens. Actually, it's not that bad. In fact, it is super good. After all, it's a native lens. However, it's super good to the point that I feel like the sensor is being too sensitive of the surroundings. Thus, the focus breathing, the pulsing, hunting on this lens is very, very strong. Like for real. And for me, that is quite annoying. But once it finds the subject, to be fair, it tracks the subject very well. So yes, not perfect, but almost. Almost, Sony. Almost. Nevertheless, as conclusion, if you are looking for a wide-angle lens, I still do recommend this lens. I like what Gerald Undone said in his review of this lens. He said something like this lens performed 80 to 90% of what the G Master is doing, but in a more affordable price point. Something like that. If you are a Gerald Undone fan, don't bash me for not quoting him exactly. Anyway, and I don't know about you, but I believe it speaks of the value of the Sony 20mm. Thank you, Gerald. And oh, by the way, I almost forget, all the things that we mentioned or we discussed about this lens, guess what? You can do all those on an APS-C body. Like for real. Only difference that you should consider is the 1.5 crop factor. Other than that, this lens works perfectly fine on an APS-C body, just like the Sony a6400. It is that good. There you go, folks. I am sure I wasn't able to cover everything. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, or we can connect on Instagram or on Facebook. As I end, if you're getting value from this video, please do like and subscribe for more not super technical but rather practical approach to gadgets and technologies. Until then, thank you for watching. Reason number 2. The Sony millimeter 20mm. The Sony millimeter 20. What? All thanks to that large aperture. As a matter of fact, I just can't remember who, but there was this one video. As a matter of fact, there was this one. Okay, my dogs are singing right now, so yeah, enjoy. The Sony 20mm, the Sony. Personally, I find it useful for landscapes, establishing shots, and like I said earlier, I find it useful for my talking head. Not only that, but this lens is also what? I love that it gives me. Hello, mic check 1 2 3 4. And I don't know about you, but I believe that speaks of the specs. And I don't know about you, but I believe it speaks of the value of the Sony millimeter. Only difference that. There you go, folks. Until then. Are they done? Is that it? All right.